I believe, was from Barnett Shoals School. Nathaniel's from Hillsman. Colin is from Hillsman. So, Colin, will you please come up and read your essay for our audience?
Dear Diary, you're all sitting around a fire, staring into the flames, watching them rise up from the ground and pop in the air. I'm sitting next to my friend John, who is staring into the flames like it's the most important thing in the world. Sitting across from him is Brad. Most of the time, Brad is very quiet and only talks when he is asked a question. Even though Brad is quiet, he is one of the fastest soldiers in our camp. One time when he was hunting, Brad was about to shoot a deer when his gun jammed. Instead of running to tell another soldier with a gun, he just ran and tackled the deer and then killed it with his knife. Jack is a very talkative soldier. Sometimes he talks so much we all have to tell him to shut his mouth. Even though Jack is very talkative, he's a very good fighter. But the thing that's different about him is that he prefers to use swords and knives instead of guns. I just hope this war doesn't change the people who we are. It's a cold night and we're all about 1 foot away from the fire. We all have our hands right in front of the flames, but they're still freezing. My toes and fingers are turning black from the cold nights that we've had. One boy had to have his fingers chopped off, so they had to send him home since he couldn't fight. I've seen some men die on the battlefield right in front of me, and there was nothing I could do about it. One of them was a friend of my father's. I remember seeing them at the local tavern. It's been hard on us all having to go to the funerals and everything. I know my father is having second thoughts about letting me join this war. Since we only have 3 medics, it hasn't been easy to get all my wounds treated. And since we've used almost all our medical supplies, all the medics could do was tell me to wash my scratches off in the river. Thankfully, all I've had are a few scratches on my face and hand. Out on the battlefield, it's like nothing you've ever seen. No one can prepare you for it. They can only tell you how bad it is. On the battlefield, we all line up in a line and shoot and just pray you're lucky enough not to get hit. I can still smell the gunpowder, see the blood. I remember all those soldiers who lost their lives defending our country from British control. Once off the battlefield, you're never the same. I've been having nightmares about redcoats coming to kill us in our sleep and then waking up, screaming my head off to be calmed down by my father. Everyone gather around. It's our General William Prescott. You have information that the British generals are going to send their soldiers to occupy the hills on the north side of Boston Harbor. I'm going to take all 1,200 of you stealthily to the hills to make fortified lines across most of Charlestown Peninsula, he said. The next day we started loading all the gunpowder and supplies on the carts and wagons and we brought it up to the hills. Once we did that, we set up camp. I helped set up wood planks for cover. At night we set up some fires, but we had to keep them low or the British would see them and come before we were ready. That night I kept on thinking about it and hardly got any sleep at all. It was afternoon and some men were preparing bread and soup for lunch in a big pot over fire when I heard it. At first it was just a small thump, but then it got closer and closer and louder, and soon I saw it coming over the horizon. It was the redcoats. First I saw only maybe 20 or 50 of them, but then I saw them all. They had at least double our size. I told our general and he alerted the rest of the men. They must have been alerted of us being here because they're not supposed to be here yet, he told the men, to take our positions and fire. We fired the first shot. At first we were winning the battle, but it didn't last long at all. Soon they all started firing back and seemed to do way more damage. 5 men to my left were shot. I saw Jack throw a tomahawk and hit a redcoat in the chest. Brad was running back and forth bringing gunpowder to all the soldiers. He had to work hard to keep his balance because his boots were slipping on the wet ground. I was able to hit a redcoat with my musket, but while one died, another one took its place. Soon we were down to hardly any men at all, and we were running low on gunpowder. Our captain sadly told us to retreat. We retreated to Cambridge over Bunker Hill. Even though we lost the battle, the British suffered over 800 wounded and 226 killed. I just do pray this battle wasn't for nothing.
Thank you, Colin. This reminds us that a lot of very young boys did fight in the Revolutionary War. and God bless America. We have for you a badge. And we have for you a check and your certificate. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Go get your picture on there. Thank you.
You're welcome.